our beautiful nature island, Dominica, forward in so many important ways, especially as it relates to our financial independence. We are hearing a lot of important conversations about bringing our human resources back to Dominica. Well, I have to say, I think that we are missing a very important aspect of this conversation, and that is people do not have to physically return to Dominica to be able to make a significant contribution to Dominica. So, this evening, we are talking all about how we can leverage technology to reverse that brain drain that has plagued Dominica and the Caribbean by extension for decades. And we are looking at the brain gain. So, as we begin our second year, of Roots Connections on Q, that is going to be the focus of our programming. How do we reverse the brain drain that we've all experienced? And how do we engage our human resources to ensure that we move towards a brain gain? Right? So it is wonderful to be here with you. Once again, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. This is episode number 24 of Roots Connections on Q95, the big station for today, Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. And I am your host, Simone Mathieu. Oops. Simone Senhouse Mathieu. We are coming to you live on Q95 radio. So thank you everyone who's joining us via the radio. But don't forget, we are also live on Facebook and YouTube. So on Facebook, you can find us at Q95 FM radio, as well as Push Past 10. And on YouTube, you can find us on Q95 FM radio. So what are we looking at today as we celebrate our first anniversary of Roots Connections on Q? I thought the best way to celebrate would be to showcase the work of our associations in the diaspora and the role that they're playing to advance Dominica. So here we go, talking about the importance of that human resource that we have out there in the diaspora and how they are advancing Dominica in the work that they do. Because I think many times when we think about the diaspora associations, we may just think of them as social organizations. But in fact, they're doing important work. They're doing important work, such as, for example, I know Janice has a scholarship program to advance Dominica. So we want to thank the panel for being here. Just a quick reminder, we have in Canada, Miss Janice Williams-Russell from the Swingin' Janice Scholarship Foundation. We have in Florida, Mrs. Doreen Shillingford and Miss Esther Alexander from the Dominican Association of Tampa Bay in the Caribbean. We are blessed to have two of our University of the West Indies students. We have Miss Emma Jeffers and Mr. Alden Gage. And by the way, let me thank the president of the Dominican Students Association at Cave Hill, Barbados, Miss Abigail Christmas, for bringing these two young people to us this evening. And in Houston, we have Miss Elisha Nation and Miss Sheryl Drigo should be joining us in a little while. So we're very happy to have them as they're about to tell us all about the important work that they're doing. So we're going to invite them now to unmute their mics to say good evening and to introduce themselves. And since we're only graced by the presence of one young man, Mr. Alden Gage, we will go ahead and begin with you as you tell us who you are and what you're currently doing.
Okay, so good night, everybody. My name is Alden Gage, and I am a 22-year-old undergraduate student pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology at the UE Caveville campus in Barbados. So I held the position of president on the Dominican Students Association of Caveville's executive for the year 2020 to 2021. And currently, I am now serving a second term as the Publications Committee Chairperson on the Caveville Guild of Students from 2021 to 2023.
Yes, thank you. Good to meet you, Alden. So now let's go over, we'll just go in order for parents. Elisha, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everybody. Good night. My name is Elisha Nation. I am from Casa Bruce. I am an accountant by profession, and this past tax season, I started my own tax preparation company. I This is my first term as the treasurer for the Dominica Houston Association. I was linked to the organization before as a dancer, but this is my first term on the executive, and I was trusted with the position of treasurer. And so I just want to mention, though, Simone, that I am an alumna of the University of Phoenix. I did my master's in business administration there with a concentration in accounting.
Oh, absolutely. And as everyone knows, that's actually where I'm an associate professor. So nice to meet a fellow student. Janice, let's move over to you.
Well, my name is Janice Williams, aka the Swinging Janice. I'm just an ordinary Dominican. I'm doing what I'm called to do or directed to do. I am the CEO and founder of the Swinging Janice Scholarship Foundation, now operating in Dominica.
Yes, very nice to meet you. Imana?
Hi, good night. My name is Imana Jeffers. I am just completing student of the University of the West Indies Gabriel campus. Like Aldon, I'm a past president of the Dominican Students Association. I served as president from the year 2019 to 2020. And I also served on the Students Guild as the commuters representative for the year 2020 to 2021. If yes, 2020 to 2021. Yes. I also did my degree in international relations with a minor in management.
Yes, nice to meet you. Doreen, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, let me greet you, Simone, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. And to all of the other panelists, good evening, and good evening to your listeners. My name is Doreen Shillingford. Most of you in Dominica know me as Doreen Paul. I the I have been humbly serving as president of the Dominican Association of Tampa Bay since 2015, and I'm just happy to be here and to be of service to the people of Dominica, both in Dominica and in Tampa Bay. And just by means of correction, Simone, there is a Dominican Association of Tampa Bay, which is the Hispanic Dominican Dominican Republic. So ours is Dominica
Ah,
Association of Tampa Bay.
Dominica, no N.
No N,
A
no
very
N.
important distinction. So
Yes,
Dominica Association of
of
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, DATB for short.
Right. Thank you for the correction. No, I'm not sure if Esther has been able to connect with us. Do you know if she's been able to connect with us, Doreen?
I do see
Can you
her.
can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we
hear you.
can.
So go ahead and introduce
Okay,
yourself, please, while you're working on your camera.
I'm sorry. I apologize for my picture not being there. I'm not as technology savvy as the
That's
young
okay.
folks.
That's
That's
okay.
okay.
I am Esther Alexander. I am from the village of La Plaine. I taught in Dominica for many years, and I continued my career in Tampa Bay. Presently, I'm retired, and I am the vice president of DATB, Dominica Association of Tampa Bay. I strive to give back to my country as much as I can.
Yes, exactly. And that is exactly what we're here to talk about tonight, how everyone is giving back to Dominica in one way or another. So, again, thank you for being here as we are joining us to talk about this important topic. So, again, today is the first year anniversary of Roots Connections on Q. How time flies when you're doing important work is all I can say about that. And, I could not think.
Congratulations.
Happy
Yes, thank you.
anniversary.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yes, we began May 12th, 2021. So again, we are very grateful for the opportunity that Mr. G has given us to host this program every other Wednesday night. So again, when you're not speaking, just do me a quick favor and mute your mics so we won't get any feedback on the program. And again, I could not think of a better way of celebrating the first year anniversary, but by showcasing the work of our associations. But before we begin started this evening, let me just say a pleasant good evening, of course, to our Q95 listeners, our Facebook Live, YouTube Live listeners. Good evening to Mr. Gregoire and the Q95 team, as well as Mr. Sheridan Sherwin Norris, and Mr. Lambie, who is on the console, and he will be taking our calls in a little while. And don't forget, if you missed any of our programming, you can always jump on q95da.com for all the best in programming. Our last episode of Root Connection is now up and playing, and that was securing your financial future at any age. So in the last year, we've looked at some very important topics. We covered topics such as, securing your financial future. We talked about creating financial security during COVID-19. And we also talked about China wanting to dominate the world. But as we move into our second year of programming, I thought it was necessary to elevate the conversation, right? So create more of a structure. So the thought that came to mind is, with all the conversations we've been having about our human resources and the need to bring back our human resources to Dominica, why are we so focused on having people physically move back to Dominica? And of course, I want to hear from the panel on that topic as they tell us about the work that the associations do. But why are we so focused on having people physically return to Dominica when we have the technology which allows us to connect? Look, we have Dominica, Georgia, Barbados, Canada, Houston, Florida, all on one panel. So why don't we focus more on the emerging technologies that can bring us all together? So here are the questions that we are looking at this evening. So we are looking at what initially sparked the interest in creating your associations, the role that you play in representing and promoting Dominica, and the challenges that you faced along the way, as well as how can we support you in your efforts. So Doreen, you already had the mic, so I'll come over to you as you tell us all about your association.
Thank you again, Simone. It's a pertinent question that you've asked about why is there such a focus on us being actually physically in Dominica. And let me say, for me personally, my heart is in Dominica. I have relatives in Dominica, and my dad is in Dominica. I have many, many friends and loved ones in Dominica. And I think that for most Dominicans, our heart, our passion is for our country. But circumstances have allowed us to move outside, whether it is for opportunities for ourselves, for our children, for education, for work opportunities. Those things have allowed us to migrate. However, we want to continue serving our country. And so when I came to Tampa, I first met up with people like Esther Alexander, her husband, Mac Alexander, and some other Dominicans who had been serving on previous Dominica Association in the Tampa Bay area, but that association had been inactive. And so we came together as a group to decide, what can we do? How can we come together? How can we bring Dominicans in the Tampa Bay area together? We can't just wait when there is a disaster to come together. We need to do something ahead so that we can pull resources, have something in place, have a system in place, so that in the event something happens in Dominica, or somebody, a Dominican person living in the Tampa Bay area, has a need, we are able to respond. And so in 2015, we reestablished the Dominica Association of Tampa Bay. We are a registered 501c3 in the state of Florida.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I didn't realize you had stopped speaking. So let's go over to you, Janice, as you tell us about your organization and the work that you do. You're muted. Oh, you're still muted.
Bad girl.
There you go.
Yes. My nonprofit is the Swinging Janice Scholarship Foundation. It is a registered nonprofit charitable organization, and it is to be really accessed by either Haiti, Jamaica, or Dominica. And I chose Dominica because this is the land of my birth, and this is where the need for me is greater. It was founded in 2012, but at the time, secretly, I kept sponsoring one person, two people, and then I decided to go public. I thought if I went public, the need or the help would be greater. I would be able to service more kids. And so I teamed up with Judith Francis in Florida, and we decided that we were going to see if the ex-students of the Dominica Grammar School would perhaps sponsor any of the kids that we had in mind. And so 10 of our ex grammar school students came on board, and we were able in 2021 to sponsor 18 students. It was a success. Our children are very happy. We get regular updates on their progress. We get their report cards, and they're doing very well. And in 2022, this is the second year we've added 9 scholarships to our 18. So hopefully July 19th is the second ceremony. It will take place at the same venue, and we intend to grow. And the reason I do this, I'm not comfortable doing this events, this live stuff, but I think to myself, if it's going to help, if it's going to encourage other groups, other organizations to come on board, I'll do it. I'll come on here. I'll be uncomfortable with with the subjects and whatever I have to discuss. But if it's going to encourage groups like you guys groups to perhaps sponsor one child or assist, I think it will be worth it in the end.
Yes, absolutely. And congratulations on your success to date. So let's go over to you, Elisha, as you tell us about your association as well.
Okay, so it's like Doreen and Janice said, Dominicans are everywhere. And it's just like you said, the brain drain. We are leaving for whatever reason or the other. And the Dominica Youth Association was founded to have an impact and to help. We do sponsor. We have an annual gala every year in October, and we don't give the full scholarships, but we do assist students. I think it's normally two students every year with some college assistance. So it was founded for the same reasons, to just have an impact and to help in any way that we can as Dominicans.
Right. Excellent. Thank you for that. So Alden, let me come over to you, and you can answer the first question, and then I'll go to Imana for the second question. So why was your organization conceptualized?
Okay, so as we know, the Cavill campus is one of the most culturally diverse of the UE campuses, and as it relates to just supporting the Dominicans there, it all stems from welfare. So in terms of welfare, that's how the organization really was formed. You have to always think first about your own people, just being able to provide support, being a guide, whether it be in any way, shape, or form. You can say by just showing them around or helping them academically, or as I said, welfare. So in terms of probably just helping them go along with their struggling financially, and overall at the end of the day, to share the culture. So again, that would be the basis on what Tom Sack the purpose of it would have been.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And Esther, I didn't want to forget you. I know I can't see you on camera, so I don't want to forget you. Is there anything you wanted to add to what Doreen said? I'm not sure if Esther is with us. So let's move on. We will hear from her when she chimes in. Imana, let's start with just tell us some of the activities and how you are representing Dominica.
Well, like Alden said, is Cape is one of the most culturally diverse, like in the regionally culturally diverse in the of all the UE campuses. So it's not just a Dominican Students Association. There are island associations for each CARICOM island, basically. So usually for us, we are given a week of activities. So each island has a week of activities. Sometimes we share with other islands. Dominica usually shares with St. Lucia. So we have to organize a week of activities for students. It's basically to promote each other culture. But what I would say is that because Caribbean cultures are so close, it's so much closer than we think it is. It's almost like putting the pieces of a puzzle together because each week you have the different islands showcasing their culture. So we have a cultural night where we showcase our history, our heritage, our culture. Usually we have a panel discussion on a subject area that's pertinent in the Caribbean, be it political, be it social, be it economical. Um, we usually start with a multi multi religious service. So because the campus is very diverse, we have Hindus from Trinidad, we have Muslims and other religious sectors. So we usually do a multi religious service so that the students can basically take part and everyone feels included. Of course, welfare is important. We have an award for the highest GPA of the Dominican students. So in the past, I mean in my year, we actually partnered with the Dominica Association of DSSA. It's a Dominica Association in England, an English-based Dominica Association, and they funded those awards for the students. So we try to partner as much as possible. Another activity is not part of our welfare per se, but during Hurricane Maria, it was the Dominica Students Association executive who basically contacted the Dominican Association of Barbados, so that students could get assistance in terms of paying for their tuition, paying for their fees. The Dominican Students Association was also the direct contact with the government. Now, the Dominican Students Association operates under the Student Guild. So the executive represents Dominican students. So any issues that we have relating into the campus, into our financial and our just living finances and just living in Barbados, it will pass through the Dominican Student Association and we will basically bring it up to the Student Guild so they can bring it up to the university executives. So there's been an issue with the economic costs, for instance, which is supposed to be the percentage of the fees that the government is supposed to provide for students. That has been an issue for some years, and it was through the Dominican Student Association that issue has been trying to be like resolved because we send it up to the other higher bodies. So that is basically our purpose, and so that is just some of the activities that we bring forward.
Yeah, and it sounds like you guys are playing a very important role. And it was so interesting when you said the similarities in the Caribbean culture, because I went to MSU, and that was Midwestern State University. And that was the first time I had been exposed to other cultures from the Caribbean. And the thing I found most fascinating is the fact that we all eat the same thing, but we all call it something different. so, so I thought that was very interesting. So now what I want to do, I just want to open up the floor so anyone can feel free to chime in, and let's just talk about the successes. What is your organization really good at? But what are the challenges that you're facing? So you can talk about the impact of COVID. You can talk about the need for more people to come on board to do the work. So I just want to open up the floor so anyone can feel free to chime in. But before we do, let us acknowledge everyone who is listening to us, as well as our audience on Facebook and YouTube. I see Virginia, Health Life, Centelia, hello from Houston, Texas. Penny Shirley is here. Very good program. I'm watching and listening. Infinity Thomas, I think she's calling someone. Marina Charles, good evening, everyone. I'm listening. Emma George, who's been on the program. Emma, I have to call you. I have another program for you. A lovely program. Happy to see Gage and Imana. Yes, she's from UE on the panel. Tuned in. Great to have you, Emma. Judith Gist, good night all. Shout out the Tampa Bay ladies. Miss Roy, good to see you as always. Good evening all. Nama Fontaine, Filbert, shout out to Tampa. Oh, everybody shouting out Tampa tonight. Virginia, St. Hilaire, Houston, Texas in the house, and Alex Banis representing DATV. So great to have you guys. Don't forget to share the live, let everyone know that we're here. So feel free to unmute your mics and let's just talk about successes and challenges of your associations.
Let me go. Let me go ahead. I want to say that DATB has been able to accomplish a lot in such a short space of time. I'm grateful that we have been able to meet the needs of many of our Dominican students or students of Dominican parentage who are studying at universities in the US, not only in the Tampa Bay area. We've been able to support students in Texas. We've been able to support students at the University of South Florida, right here in Tampa. And to date, we have spent over $6,000 in assistance to the students. Besides that, those students who are coming from Dominica to the universities locally in the Tampa Bay area, we look out for them and ensure that they have the things that they need in order, Alden and Emana, I believe, talked about the welfare of the students. And we also look after the students who are coming from Dominica to the local universities in the Tampa Bay area. In addition, we focus on healthcare. As you know, healthcare in the US is very expensive. And so persons from Dominica who need to come over here for medical assistance, we try to assist. People who are migrating to the Tampa Bay area, we try to provide some form of orientation and familiarization with Tampa Bay. Tampa has a lot to offer, but when you come in new, it can be a little daunting. So we try to acclimatize people to the Tampa Bay area. We are heavy on education. So not only do we focus on scholarships in Dominica, but we also focus on and here in Tampa, but also on scholarships in Dominica. So we have supported schools, we have supported the libraries, we have adopted the Christian Union Primary School. We've provided them with overhead systems and books and stationaries for the students. We also do social services in Dominica. For the past 2 years, we have supported the Love One Teach One Foundation in the Trafalgar and Roseau Valley area, where they support students who are young people who are underprivileged. And so these are just a few of the things that we have focused on, but there is so much more that we can do. So when we talk about challenges, money answers everything. The Bible tells us that money answers everything. And so one of the challenges that we have is being able to receive funds on a consistent basis. And like I say, we do not want to wait until something happens in Dominica for us to run around trying to raise funds to get supplies, to get things that we need to send home. If people can pledge to the association on a consistent basis, whether it is monthly or quarterly, and I remind people that as a 501c3, we are accountable. Sometimes, and I know that a number of organizations in the diaspora struggle with that. There are issues of trust. But as a 501c3, we are accountable not only to our membership, but also to the government. So I want to assure you that when you make your contribution to the Dominica Association of Tampa Bay, that your money is well guarded and well spent in the interests that we have identified.
I also want to add that once you are a nonprofit organization and you give donations to us, you can claim those as tax deductions.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
You
That's
can
the
claim those
bonus.
contributions as tax deductible on your tax return. So I
That's
just
right.
wanted to point that out.
So here's the thing. So here's the thing, Elisha. The larger amount you give, the more you can claim.
Correct.
Right,
So
right.
give
Give,
big.
give.
Give big.
Absolutely.
Give big.
Uh-huh.
And of course, membership is important. An organization that we can't, if we can't grow our membership, we are limiting our capacity to deliver to our constituents. And so I want to just encourage people in the Tampa Bay. And here's the thing, Simone, it is for people in Tampa Bay and Dominicans everywhere. Now that the world has changed and everything is virtual, you can be in Texas. Okay, there's a Houston. Don't get jealous. Don't get jealous, Houston.
Outside of
But if you,
Houston.
but if you are in
Texas
an
is big.
area of if you are in an area of the United States
Yeah.
and there is no Dominica Association there, feel free to join the Dominica Association of Tampa Bay. We welcome you wherever you are in the United
And that
States.
is what I
It's
keep saying.
virtual.
Yes, that's what I keep saying, Doreen and everyone. There are no more borders. And sometimes I feel like I'm out in the wilderness screaming this from the top of my head and no one is hearing me. But
No
we
more
can do so
borders.
much if we stop thinking about our physical limitations, because we have technology to break those barriers that once, separated us.
And Simon, you have been on several of our events.
Yes.
Yeah, because no borders. Technology brings us together. And so wherever you are in the United States, even in England, and you want to be a part of Dominica Association of Tampa Bay, feel free to do so. And you can contribute to our organization. There's Cash App. We are at DATB 78, dollar sign in front of that. DATB 78. You can use PayPal me or Zelle. Zell us at datb@gmail.com.
Yeah,
So
and
there's,
Doreen, what would be helpful also is if you type that in the comment section on
I
Facebook
sure will
when you
do
get
that.
a minute, because it will be easier once someone comes back and looks at the program, that they will be able to see it. So let's move ahead. Elisha, I think you wanted to tell us about challenges and successes of the Houston Association.
Well, I think our strengths are mobilizing after an emergency, because that is when most people will reach out and say, hey, we need this or we need that. So I think that is where the Dominica Houston Association strength is. The challenges that we face, though, and I'm not sure the other organizations face that, is the young people seem to be gravitating away from us. And it's like, it's, well, DHA is for the older folks. And that's one of the reasons I joined, because it's not for the older folks, because we are all Dominicans and we want to see our culture survive. We want to know our history. We want to know where we come from. We want to know that we could teach our children where we come from. So it's not just for the older folks. And the activities are not, it's not always going to be bacchanal, I will say, because the
See,
young
whoa,
people,
see, whoa.
the young people like the bacchanal. It's not always going to be that. So I just want the young people to get more involved and remember where we come from and know that it's not just the bacchanal. It's not just the CEO. Dominica is so much more. So I think that has been I think that has been the most challenging thing for us here in Houston with the Dominica Houston Association. And
And
we too, you can make donations on our website, DominicaHoustonAssociation.org, and we have Cash App, $ DHA Texas. So
right, and thank you, Norma Fountain. I saw you posted the Cash App. So as we are talking, I want everyone, if you have some contact information you want to leave, because of course it'll be difficult for everyone to remember what you're saying, but if you can go ahead and post it in the comment section on Facebook, everyone can see. So I want to come over to you, Janice. Then I'm going to go over to Esther, and then what I want to do is I want to go to Alden and Imana, because I'm so happy that we have two young leaders with us. And what I really want you all to talk on for me is, what do you see as the prospects for your future? So not only the challenges and successes of your organization, But what are your prospects? What are your hopes and your aspirations as Caribbean youth for your future? So first, let me go to Janice and Esther, and Imana and Alden kind of ponder on that question for a minute. I don't want to put you on the spot just yet. So Janice, let me come over to you.
Well, I wouldn't say that I've had any, you know, any disappointments, or, all I can say is we've had success,
Good.
because it is the first year that we are sponsoring that large of an amount of kids. And to me, this is a great success. So I can't say we've had any challenges
Good.
yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say either that persons will not come on board. And I'm not going to even, ask people to come on board, because my thing is that I have been given something to do, not by myself, because I probably wouldn't have done it. But something leads me to do what I'm doing, and I'm going to carry on. And I know through love, through caring, through people really thinking about it, that people are going to come on board, and they are going to give from their own free will. I know it 100%. So I can't say there's any challenges yet.
Good.
All I can say is there has been so much success. And again, I cannot say enough of these 10 ex-grammar school students that have come and partner with me, and they've given their trust, because the number one thing is trust.
Yes.
When you give your money to someone, you have to trust them. You have to make sure that you know that where you will see where your money goes. And they've seen where it goes, and others will see it. And so we intend to supply every Dominican student who is underprivileged with that help, because education is the key. Without education, we might as well forget it.
Oh, well said, Janice. And I so agree with you about having that calling. You don't know how you're going to get it done, but it's just nudging at you that there's something you have to do. I've experienced it many, many times, and I just know the feeling. You just have to jump in and begin the work and have faith that God will guide you through, and He will bring the right people into your life, and He will bring the right resources to you, so you can get this project going and you can see it through to fruition. Yeah, but I want to stay with you for just one more minute, Janice, because I think one of the challenges that we're facing in Dominica is the whole concept that it is now possible to raise funds in America and provide support in Dominica. Because a big chunk of what we're trying to do here with regard to the brain drain and reversing the brain drain is providing economic opportunities for Dominicans. So if, for example, let's say Elisha's business wanted to hire an intern for Dominica to teach how to do taxes, and you could pay that intern from the US. And I've done it. I've done it with a carnival program that I did where I paid DJs from the US and I got sponsors. How is it possible that you're able to actually provide the financial support for the students in Dominica? I think that will help us to better understand how this is possible.
Oh, I hope my husband is not listening. But most of those funds are funds, my personal funds, that I have. It has always been that dream to do what I'm doing. Actually, I've done it for years secretly.
Okay.
So regardless, if people come on board, these funds are there.
So are you using
My
like
husband-
Western Union, MoneyGram? How are you getting
you
it to
mean how the
Dominica?
funds? Well, what happens is on a yearly basis, I send a draft to my lawyer. And what he does in itself, may his soul rest in peace. He just passed. But last year, that's what he did. The funds are placed in his hands, and he distributes the funds to the students. Now,
Right.
this year, there's not a problem. I've had to have another trustee. The funds will go to that particular person, and the person will carry on and do the process the same way. So the funds is distributed to someone, and then they in turn will write the scholarship checks to each child.
Thank you. That is so
Yeah.
helpful because I think that is one of the areas we get stuck on. And, as Doreen and others have mentioned, it's trust. You have to have someone in Dominica that you can trust to say, well, this is what we're going to work on. And, you're not going to take the money and run. So I
It's
think
all
a
about
lot of it
trust.
comes back to that very important question of trust. Esther, did you want to add anything before we go over to our young leaders?
Yes, the ATB faced the same problem with regards to membership. And it was an eye opener to realize that the young people view the association as for the grown up people. So we are trying our best to get from them what would you want of the association, some feedback from them, so we can incorporate some of their ideas into the association to see if we can secure win their membership, because we need them. We need them to continue the ATB, to continue the good work that we have started. And participation, when we have our events, we have events. We have had it for the past 2 years. We had it virtual. And we noticed that many of the young people, we need more young people in attendance. Again, one of the challenges we face is that when we request information from Dominica, we do not receive it in a timely manner. So this drags on when it could be done in a more timely manner. So like that. When it comes to education, to piggyback on what, because I didn't get a chance to talk after Doreen,
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to sum up our mission, sum up what she said by our mission statement. The ATB's mission is to undertake projects in education, health, arts and culture, economic development, community and humanitarian services for Dominicans in the Tampa Bay region and Dominica. I'm glad you said that we are global. And that sparked an interest in DATB. We have an idea, we hope that it comes to tuition, of hosting a Saturday math tutorial program in Dominica. And we are looking forward to Dominicans overseas to tutor the kids. Can you imagine how excited the children will be to know that I'm getting
Excellent.
up on a Saturday morning for 1 hour to do some math or some English or some reading, and my tutor is in Houston, in Tampa, in California.
You
In
are speaking my language. You are so speaking
you
my
said,
language.
yes, so we can be global.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for that. So I gave our two young leaders an essay question to answer. So let's see how they do. Alden, let me come over to you.
All right. So to just go over from the first what you'd have asked in terms of achievements, I
Yes.
must say Dom Sac has been always a safe space for our members or fellow Dominicans to always get a little free up after all the struggles of the schoolwork. So at the end of the day, they can find peace, I could say, in their fellow Dominicans. And let's just say they've always performed very well due to this, because a lot of people would just be struggling with their schoolwork, and it's like no real people to like have a chat, like have support. So just having an association to come back to make them do very well in their schoolwork. We've been having a lot of Dominicans showing up on the valedictorians list over within the past, like, let's say 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Well, last year for sure, the valedictorian of the Kville campus was a Dominican. That was
Wow.
Ika Dorival. And it's like, at the end of the day, that's why we have to do these things like the GPA awards to let them know that you aim for this thing. And when you get to this level, then once you go a little higher, for sure, you can be the valedictorian. You can always achieve what you want to. And in terms of providing support, for example, when the COVID pandemic hit, we can't not talk about the pandemic. One of the things that the association did for the persons who were stuck here in Barbados when people couldn't travel was we did COVID packages, care packages. So we just provided a little food, a little things for the persons that were struggling. We had a little collaboration with the Dominican Association here in Barbados. And we got something, going. And in terms of other types of support, there is also stuff like something I introduced in my tenure when I was the president, something I called peer assistant and insight. So it's like if you're somebody who is, let's say, a mathematics major and you're very good at math, you're excellent at math, and this fresher, this new student is struggling in one particular course, you could give them a helping hand, something like that. Even as it relates to technical issues, because for one, I do IT, and a lot of persons would come to me saying, my laptop is giving these type of issues. Could you check it out? I have an exam tomorrow, and I'd always be like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I would always do these things, repairs, take a look at stuff, software, always free of charge because obviously I care about the Dominican students. I was the president, and up to this day, any Dominican I see walking on campus that needs a favor, I'll say no problem, I'll do it for free. That has always been that thing. In terms of being a guide, I would say for sure when my sister first came to this campus back in the day, she said when she came, she was just dropped in Barbados and didn't know where to go, what to do, didn't know her way around. And so TomZac ensures that the students know their way around. They have, let's say, an apartment to stay beforehand, even before they land in Barbados. And I even know someone who's coming 5 days from now for the summer, and they're like, they need help finding a place. And I say, all right, no problem. They wanted me to know about the travel protocols, all these things that we always brief for incoming Dominicans on in advance. And for sharing our culture, I would definitely say the culture nights have been significant. I could say definitely successful in letting the wider Caribbean know what bouillon music is, for example, because
Nice.
a lot of times you come to campus and they'll be like, we know the usual if it's so-called dancehall. But when I say y'all ever hear bouillon, they'll be like, what is that? So
Nice.
it's a
Nice.
new perspective, So you just have to get the association out there and just make all these things native to our island known, like having the world's second largest boiling lake, all these neat little things that they'll be like, wow, like, okay, that makes me want to, take a trip to Dominica. In terms of the challenges, now I'm actually getting sorry about that to
That's
the
okay.
meat
That's
of.
okay. Go ahead.
So in terms of the challenges we face, again, it all stems from if it's not a pandemic, it's also natural disasters. So if natural disasters have hit home, you'll always see students struggling financially. So the association just kind of helps to cushion the effects with welfare. And for the pandemic, a challenge we have faced is a drop in membership, as a lot of you have mentioned on the panel already here tonight. So with a drop in membership, that is a big deal because the presence of the association is definitely, just shrinking a little bit because where you'd have hundreds of Dominicans, you now have only in the 50s or so. And it's not that they are no longer at UE, but it's like they're now studying at home, and it's like, let's say we have a physical meetup or a flag raising, or let's say a little cook up. It's like, wow, the numbers looking a little thin. So that is some of the challenges that we have faced. So when you get to Imani can tell you some more if I don't have the rest at the top of my head. But for the prospects, I would definitely say more welfare, bigger scholarships, because as you can see, a lot of the students, well, not sure if you would know, that come to the UEKville. I think you all mentioned this earlier tonight. There would also be a lot of law students, So it's like, and these are programs which are not usually, you'll not get a lot of, how could I say, standard funding for them, like in terms of probably government assistance and so. So it's like having more scholarships or more welfare, then we could definitely help the students who are doing the, how could I say, out of pocket type of programs, or the programs that seem to be more expensive. And a prospect, okay, I would say something I'm very much looking forward to for Domsac because it has been like hinted here and there, but it's like hosting peers and other associations because a lot of times, you would sell Dominica so good to the other entities on campus that I would literally be looking through my WhatsApp statuses and I'm seeing one of my friends actually took a trip to Dominica. So I'm
Nice.
like, okay, so I see one person going by a plane, one person took a cruise ship to go there. And I'm like, oh, so what if we actually make this a thing where it's like we sell ourselves so good, they fall in love with the culture, they fall in love with the events that we have. Like, for example, I know a lot of friends right now are talking about going to the World Creole Music Festival, and it's like, okay, like we could make this a thing, sell yourself to the point that you could actually host these people in your actual home and not just your home away from home.
Excellent. Very well said. And we'll come over to you, Imana, and then Lambi will come over to you so we can take some phone calls, take some Facebook Live messages, give the panel a little minute to catch their breath. And then when we come back from the break, I want us to talk about that reversing of the brain drain. So kind of start thinking of any ideas and also some of the partnerships that you may have that has been helpful to you. Because I think one of the things I want to do here as we're bringing the associations together is to create that partnership. So let us look at each other and see, what is working well in Houston that might work well in Florida, what is working well in Canada that might work well in Houston and Florida. So I think the more we can exchange ideas, I think the stronger we grow as an international community, that international village that I always think of when I think of the over 200,000 Dominicans who live in the diaspora. So just some things to think of for when we come back from after the break. So start thinking about reversing the brain drain, partnerships, collaborations, and what is getting in the way. So I think we already alluded to the fact that trust is a major issue. So that is already one thing that is getting in the way. But what else is getting in the way of us being even more successful with our association? So Emmanuel, let me come over to you for your essay response.
Yes. I think Alden touched base on a lot, especially the challenges. But Alden is what I would call a pandemic fresher. So he came in the year the pandemic happened. So he didn't get the full cable experience and the full cable culture. He mentioned some prospects such as hosting, but I would tell Alden that that has been happening for years at cable. I know that in a year they actually had a group of other students from the Islands Associations that was hosted by the then president Anika Bellot. And Anika is a president who has done a lot for the Dominican Students Association. She was the first one who achieves DOMSA getting the Best Island Association Award. So I think that year they were very active on campus and they accomplished a lot. And, you know, but a lot of accomplishments come from just being there for the students. I would say that again, Hurricane Maria, the fact that the then president at the time could have, reached out to government officials and garner that assistance for the Dominican students there. I think that's a big accomplishment. Students' rent were paid, outstanding rent were paid. Students' outstanding tuition were also paid. And, also we have in the past presidents of DOMSAC writing to the government to, kind of get them to pay the outstanding fees of students. And of course, with the support of the Students Guilds and the university. We also have, even for, I think, going up to when UB wanted to increase fees for students. DOMSAC, the presidents of the Islands Associations have a say in pressuring the guild to call on the students and say no, our students can afford this increase. And then these guild presidents, they face the heads of governments of the Caribbean, and they face the university councils and executive to stand on behalf of the students. So our accomplishments lies not only in the students' welfare, but in their overall well-being on campus and experiencing campus life. Of course, culture, I would say that. Dom's, I wouldn't say Domsack, but Annika, again, she became the vice president of the Cable Guild. That's the student government. And that was the first time that Asa Banton entered Barbados. DJ Flip is another DJ who entered Barbados through Domsack Association. And he was able to make himself there. And every year, I think after they brought him from Domsack, he performed at what we call UWIVAL, UWI Carnival, which is a very big thing. It's a very big event hosting. So we see Domsack accomplishing kind of bringing booyah to Barbados. And up to
Yes.
a day like today, people say they never see thing like that with paper flying everywhere. Asa Banton brought his whole theatrics with the bottle. And everybody was so amazed by it that even for next year, UWIVAL, people are calling that Asa Banton need to come back to Barbados to perform for UWI students.
Sheryl, could you do me a favor and mute your mic, please? Thank you. Yes,
So,
yes,
so you see the reach of these accomplishments.
yes.
I have no at every UE Fest right now, Booyah plays, and that goes out to people from Jamaica, people from Belize, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and it's not only finding cultural similarities, but looking at our cultural differences and what makes them special. And that's what DOMSAC accomplishes on campus. It makes Dominican students stands out in their different capacity, be it through debates. We've had representatives on what we have a Commonwealth model meeting, and we also had the Commonwealth model meeting, and we had another one. We also have them in debates, beauty pageants. A lot of DOMSAC members go on moot for the law, and that I think that the debate team at one point, Caville was with two Dominicans on the team, went against Harvard University debating group. So we are accomplishing a lot on campus with our support, and what we do is try to create a family amongst us, a family, and we extend that family out to other people from the other islands. We've had people from St. Vincent joining our association, St. Lucia joining our association, people from different islands join our association, and they just immerse themselves within the Dominican culture. Of course, I'll then move to the challenges. Now,
Yes.
with the challenges, we've had challenges with funding, sponsorships, because as I said, we went through Hurricane Maria, and in that year, besides the government assistance and the Dominican Association of Barbados assistance, it was through them that we got government assistance. We didn't get much sponsorships because a lot of businesses would have been in their rebuilding stage. In my year, however, I was able to get sponsorship from a number of businesses, including Tony Sponge, the National Corporate Credit Union, Discover Dominica Authority, and these are just three of them. And of course, the Dominica Association of, I think it's DASA, they call themselves, of London, a London-based Dominican association, gave us a lot of support too. I think it was a grant of at least £1,000 to help us with awarding students with the highest GPA. However, we have that sponsorship, and that COVID-19 again during the pandemic, we're going to have another issue with sponsorship of businesses to the Dominican Students Association. And of course, another challenge that we go through again is that students, a lot of students, I can remember during my tenure, a lot of students came to me about their economic costs and that not being paid, and that is something that we try to stress on, and we try to at least reach out to the government at least as much as possible to pay that part of the students' tuition that should be funded by them. Well, it's an option for Caribbean governments, but most do. And again, prospects. I think you mentioned prospects as a youth.
Yeah, so what I
As
will
a
do,
youth.
so what I will do, I will come back around because
Mhm.
what I actually wanted you guys to answer is prospects for employment, career
Employment.
prospects.
Yeah,
So let
career
us let
prospects.
us let us
Okay.
come back. Sheryl, thank you so much for joining us. I can tell that you've had a busy day because you're still at your desk working away. So thank you so much for joining us. Just give us a quick introduction of yourself, and then when we come back from the phone calls break, we will engage with you, Sheryl. So just tell us a quick introduction.
I am Sheryl Drigo from Marigot, Grand Bay, and Goodwill. Okay, that's where my family originated from in Dominica. I have been with the association since its inception. I'm one of the founding members. I'm currently the secretary. And yes, I'm sorry for the late entry. I didn't receive the link, and also I had a prior engagement, and I keep forgetting about the time difference.
Yes.
And then I saw your message about 6:45 my time, and I was like, oh, and then someone else called me and said, I don't see you. And I was like, oh my goodness. So
yeah, I emailed you the link. It must have gone into your junk box or something, but we're very happy that you're here, that you're joining us, and that you're part of the conversation. So let's take a break, and Lambi, you can give out our phone numbers if anyone would like to make a contribution to the program this evening.
This is Roots Connection on Q. We are taking your calls right now. The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, 305-432-9624. Let me repeat those numbers again. 449-3095, 96 and 97, 616-4257, 305-432-9624. Back to you, Simone.
Yes, thank you, Lambi. And Sheryl, just mute your mic for me 1 minute. And let's take some of the comments on Facebook, everyone who's joining us via the radio and Facebook and YouTube Live. We so appreciate you again on Facebook and YouTube. We are Q95 FM radio if you're looking for us on Facebook and on YouTube. So Teresa Rose says, special good evening, Miss Doreen Shillingford, BZ Peach, hello from Houston, Nidra Mueller with the Belize Association of Houston. So we have someone from the Belize Association of Houston. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Virginia says, great job, Doreen. Another Virginia, Centilia, says, great job, Doreen, Hazel, and Anthony. Good evening, everyone. And I'm keeping my eye on Lambi. Norma says, President of the Dominican Association of Tampa Bay, Miss Noreen Shillingford. Noreen, great job. Noreen, did you hire these people to post these comments? Thank you so much, everyone. Hazel Ann, Anthony, singing, I think she wants to say singing Janice high. Virginia, great point. Let's see, and lots of Dominican flags. So go ahead and keep posting those Dominican flags as we continue the conversation. Norma, again, thank you for posting the Cash App. Virginia, the DHA activities up for all. Thank you for reminding us. Hazeland says, singing Janice, good job. Let's see who else we have. Aaron Gage. Sounds familiar, Alden? My intelligent brother, Alden Gage. Thank you for being here, Aaron. Virginia Centilla, remember Dominica has talent. Indeed it does. Judith Cochran, great program as usual. Thank you, Judith. Thank you so much. My mom, Medina Senhouse, is watching, and we have so many comments. I just missed my place, so I'll go back. Dominican Students Association, DAMSAC, is with us, and it says, follow the Dominican Students Association at Cave Hill on Facebook at DOMSAC_UWI. Again, DOMSAC_WUWI on Instagram. If you are or know someone who might be interested in attending the UWI Caveville campus, contact us via email at damsac@mycavehill.uwi.edu. So again, damsac@mycavehill.uwi.edu. And of course, I'm repeating all this information because those who are joining us via the radio will need to be able to hear this information as well. Abby Christmas is here, the president of DAMSAC. She says, great representation, Alden and Emmanuel. Alvin Thomas, great to see you. Great program, Simone, enjoying the discussion. And I am so proud of your panelists, and in particular to the young person. Thumbs up to all of you. Felicia George posted Dominican Houston Cash App, which is $DHA Texas. Again, $DHA Texas. Norma, very interesting. Imana, Hazel Ann, great program. Simone, I am very proud of you all. Keep up the great work of the students of Dominica. Richard, nice to see you. Miko George, great program. Simone, I am proud of you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. And Imana and Alden, let me just go back to you guys real quickly. Now, is there another Dominica Association attached to the other UWIs, Jamaica and Trinidad?
Yes, Iman, I could speak a bit more on that, but there is a DOMSAT, which is Dominican Students Association at St. Augustine, and there is a DOMSAJ, if I'm not mistaken, which is in Jamaica.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So Sheryl, I know you joined us late. Anything you wanted to talk about? We were talking about, your activities, how you represent Dominica, challenges, successes you faced along the way. So if there's anything you would like to contribute at this point.
Well, we've had some successes, but they're not without challenges. And I think our challenge is the same as the others previously mentioned. Sponsorship, especially during COVID. Sometimes non-participation from our own people. Dominicans, we are very proud people, but sometimes we tend to sit back and complain and compare. And sometimes with the comparing, it's just a matter of you doing it for yourself. So rather than compare, well, the Jamaica Association is doing this or the Trinidad Association is doing this, you as a Dominican should come on board and do your part in helping the association to fulfill its goals. We are more of a charitable group. One of the things I'm not sure if the others have experienced this, but of late, we find ourselves having to collect money for funerals. And without the support of the public of doing fundraisers, how do we do that? Nobody wants to admit that they may not have a policy in place for their burial. Sometimes sudden death, sometimes maybe it's not the person's fault, maybe the employer may not offer insurance, and in some cases maybe they just can't have it. So we find as a nonprofit group, we are here to help. But the challenge is Dominicans have to be supportive of a Dominica group that is trying to promote and preserve the culture. Other islands have joined us, yes. Even Americans, some Americans are on our association, but it's going to take Dominicans being supportive. That's our main challenge, is Dominicans being consistent with their support.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Sheryl. So now let's open up the floor for discussion. So I think we threw out a number of questions before we went to the break, talking about reversing the brain drain. How can we reverse the brain drain? Any partnerships that you're involved in, any educational programs? Because I think what Sheryl is kind of highlighting is the need for an educational program. For example, the need for an educational program on the importance of life insurance. Right? Because especially if you live here in America, there is no reason. Life insurance is sometimes as little as $23 a month. Right? So there's no reason. Sheryl, you want to jump in?
Simone, and I'm glad you said that, because we had a forum recently where another Dominican lady who is very knowledgeable in the insurance field, we had it, I think, on Zoom, and I kid you not, 6 people tuned in. But the information was so informative that even me, who works for a company, I learned some things that I could be doing differently that would help me in the long run. I don't know if it's pride, I'm not sure what it is. We've done investments, we've done immigration attorney, we've done different programs where people can come and learn, and the attendance has not been very good. Yet you have people that say, oh, the association need to do this, they're not doing this. It's like we're not sure what else we can do short of forcing them. I don't know. But I guess most of us will tune into something that is of interest to us. And I'm
That's
not sure at this
unfortunate.
point if the other groups are having the same issue, but don't get me wrong, we are getting support when we have our events. Our gala is very well attended, our picnic, which is coming up on May 29th. Usually the attendance is great, but in the middle of those things, someone dies. We have to make a call, send a message. We are collecting money to bury someone who may or may not have family members here. Some of them don't have a spouse or family member they may not be in touch with, and they don't want the responsibility. This is where the association comes in Houston, and we've done it for quite a few people, but the more we do it, the funds will run low.
So then, how about having an educational session, as Simone suggested? Because this is what I do. I do on a small scale. I speak to whoever wants to listen in, in my circle, my immediate circle, and I talk to people about how about putting $20 aside every month. Instead of buying this shoe, you can perhaps visit the thrift store and get a better pair for $6 and invest in $20 a month so you can have a burial plot, you can have some life insurance, because in the end, it is certain to come. So perhaps this is what maybe you all can discuss in your organizations, have some free sessions with the community, maybe a registry where you can register some people and really talk to them, maybe one-on-one or 6 at a time, but it works on my end. And, and individually, I speak to people daily on that matter, because it is the saddest thing when somebody dies and you see a GoFundMe.
Tell me about a barbecue. Tell me about
there's
it.
no disrespect. I mean, in certain circumstances, it is okay, but it is unacceptable in my view.
Yes.
And I'm only saying that so we can become better. I think what we can do as a people is keep, as I always say, you can perhaps talk to 2 people at a time. One might listen, but we have to do it. We have to be consistent. Last week, I took 2 people to the cemetery, and I started educating them and took them to the office and had them do a plan. It's only $23 a month. I mean, you can put $23 a month aside.
Well, like I said, we've done a forum. We can do it again. Maybe try a different approach.
Consistency.
But you're right. It's nothing is more sad than someone dies from Dominica and they have to do a barbecue to raise funds to bury the person. And we do other things beside that. We've given scholarship to students at Midwestern State, other universities. But in giving a scholarship, the sponsorship is needed, support is needed. You cannot give a scholarship if you have no money in the bank. All these things help our students with their education. Any student who comes from Dominica and go to school here, it's actually an investment in the country. Even if the person doesn't go back home immediately upon graduation, there are groups like ours who are planning on getting nurses and different professions to go to Dominica and use our skill free of charge and assist in whatever way we can. So one way or the other, it is going to benefit Dominica.
Yeah, and many people who graduate from the U.S., keep in mind they're taking care of family in Dominica. And
Exactly.
so that is a
Exactly.
that's a direct benefit. But thank you for sharing that, Sheryl. So I think we can see there's still lots of work to be done by the associations. So let me come over to you, Doreen, as we talk about reversing the brain drain and all the other questions that we ask. But before you respond, Doreen, let me just remind everyone you're listening to Roots Connections on Q with Simone Mathieu. And today we are discussing Dominica associations and the important role they play representing and promoting Dominica. So, how are we using our human resources out there in the diaspora to advance Dominica? So, we are joined by Miss Janice Williams. Russell, Mrs. Doreen Shillingford, Miss Esther Alexander, Miss Imani Jeffers, Mr. Alvin Gage, Miss Elisha Nation, and Miss Sheryl Drigo. So again, we're talking about engaging our human resources, no matter where we live, looking beyond the borders so that we can advance Dominica in some way, financially and otherwise. So Doreen, I think you wanted to make a contribution?
Yes. Before I speak to reversing the brain drain, I think the question that we all have to ask ourselves is, am I my brother's keeper?
Mhm.
Um, when we first started the association, I heard comments like, Dominican, I'm not in Dominican's business. It's all of us business, because here's the thing: diseases know no boundaries, natural disasters know no boundaries, death, as was being talked about, knows no boundaries. It comes to everybody. They attack people. Um, it can happen suddenly. And sometimes, even when preparation is made, there can be complications if you do not have a will in place. It can become very, very complicated. And remember, the US, unlike our islands, people are very litigation conscious. So
Mhm.
we have to be very mindful that when we move to the US, things are not as they were back home. So we have to put certain things in place. And this is where the associations come in to assist people with the knowledge, with the forum that we held. We also have held forums on bereavement. We lost a lot of people due to COVID-19. A lot of families were grieving. Many people could not cope. There are families who thought that their loved ones were coming out of it, and yet they succumbed. So there was a lot of grief during COVID-19. We held a session on grief. It was very well attended, I have to say. We have another one coming up on long-term care of the elderly. There are things that we need to put in place, like Janice said, so that when we get to that stage, there is somebody who knows what to do to take care of us. Um, so we are our brother's keeper. We are all Dominicans in the area, and we find that when something happens, although there's a lot of criticism leveled against the associations, when something happens, where is the association? Where is the president of the association? What is DATB doing? And so it is time for us to recognize that all of us and all of these associations, the members, the board members, are volunteering their time. It calls for personal sacrifice. Look, I just came from another forum, and I am in this one. My husband comes through the door and he watches me. He says, my home is my office, because every night I seem to be on something. It is about volunteering. It's about giving of ourselves so that our fellow human beings can fare as well or even better than we are. Let us never think that this is a clique or this is just for some group of people. All of us can play our part in ensuring that Dominicans, both at home and abroad, have a better life, a better standard of living. And my heart and my passion for the young people, and I applaud you, Alden and Emmanuel, for the work that you are doing for the students in Cave Hill. And we're trying to do our part for the students here in Tampa, because I tell you, it's a real challenge. Our students here, those who are born here, may have financial aid, but those who are coming from Dominica do not have access to financial aid. They pretty much depend on loans and support from their families. When COVID-19 hit, of course, a lot of people could not go to work. A lot of people were out of work. So our students could not receive the kind of support that they would normally get from their families. That is where the association comes in. And that is where each one of you in the Tampa Bay area, in the Houston area, in Canada, wherever we are in the diaspora, that's where each of us can play a role to ensure that our people are taken care of and that we look out for each other. So coming back to the reversing the brain drain, I like what you said, Simon, about leveraging technology. Um, for the past 2 years, we've been able to pivot to an online, a virtual Independence Gala. Of course, we were not able to do in person. We were watched by over 2,000 people from Europe, Africa, the Caribbean, and all over the United States and Canada. Not only being watched, but we were able to collaborate with the associations in Canada, New York, Houston, and Orlando to put together a program that Dominicans have highly rated. Hopefully, we can do in person again this year, but we do not want to lose that audience. So we still want to continue doing virtually that we can reach and showcase our talents to Dominicans and foreigners throughout the world. Esther mentioned being able to do that tutorial program. This is a tutorial program that we have collaborated with the Caribbean Association here in Tampa Bay, where every Saturday we provide tutorial services to students at the elementary level right through to high school and prepare them on for college. This is something we know that literacy is very important. We know that math skills are very important. Imagine that you can be in Houston, you can be in New Jersey, and we have so many well educated, talented people in the US to assist with technology. We have people who have migrated here who have not taken up employment here. Why? Because their skill set, they can remain here in the US and use their skill set to continue working in Dominica. You know, they can work for companies, particularly, and Alden would be happy to hear that. No matter where you are, you can use your IT skills. You can stay wherever you are, and I can call on you and say, Alden, I have a problem. Can you help me?
Yep. It's
So,
exactly what we want.
exactly, exactly. I'm going to call on you, Dr. Simone. I'm going to call on you to do a forum so that the people in Dominica can benefit no matter where we are. Elisha, you're doing accounting. Do you know many of our Dominican people have issues with doing their taxes? One, they're charging a lot of money to get their taxes done. You know, if they go to the regular places to get their taxes done. How about we come together? I know where I work in a university, and as a matter of fact, the government gives grants so that organizations who volunteer the time to help prepare taxes, there are organizations that will do it for a lower cost or even free of charge for people in the community. So if you make below a certain income, you can get your taxes prepared for free. We can write grants to let those things happen. We can actually write grants to serve our people in Dominica. And I have to say, hats off to DATB. We actually have a grant writer on our team. I know we have another grant writer who is listening. I won't mention her name, but she knows I'm coming to her to write us a grant so that we can do some things in Dominica. So our brain drain, there was a time when we complained a lot about the brain drain because yes, we were thinking physically, we were thinking that people would leave and never go home. But I say now that we are always home. We are always home. Listen, before things are happening in the US, and I hear it from Dominica, before I get it from a source in the US. So we are always home. Let us make it our mission, our mission. And I truly hope that after this program tonight, Dominicans in the diaspora will come together. Seek out one of our organizations. There's one in New York, in the tri-state area. I know Burnham will be happy that I give him some promos tonight. There's an association in the tri-state area in Houston, the Dominican Association of Orlando. Hats off to them as well. Seek out our organizations. I would like to see at least 25 people this week. This is a challenge. I hope somebody will be the first. We can give a prize, an incentive to the first person to call and join the organization and make a contribution. Not only join, but make a contribution to the organization. I'm looking for 25. I'm looking for 25. I don't know how many you need, Elisha, right now, but I'm looking to start with 25. And we can accomplish so much more than we have been doing if we begin to put our ideas together, put our various talents together, our education and everything together so that we can benefit our people in Dominica.
Oh, thank you so much, Doreen. Very well said. So, Elisha, let me come over to you, and then Janice, I want to come to you, and then we'll go to Esther, and then our two youth leaders as we continue this conversation. So, Elisha, what do you want to add to the conversation?
She hit the nail on the head, as we say in Dominica.
Yeah.
And yes, for example, we had this program where our cultural officer was in Houston, was at an assembly in the Castleberry Secondary, where she was actually participating right there with the students and stuff. So yes, there are no boundaries anymore. We are able to do it, and as long as we are given the opportunity and the support to do it, then of course we are always willing to do it.
Thank you, Janice.
Well, Mrs. Doreen Shillingford said it the best. But to add to what she's saying, I also think that networking and getting the internet providers in Dominica to lower their rates for residents
very important
can impact everyone and benefit our people better. Because if they have more access to reliable, cheap internet services, then they in tune can communicate with us better. They can see what's happening in the world, and they too can liaison with us. And I think the greatest sacrifice that we as a people can, or we Dominicans can do, is service. That is what is missing. Service. It could be service to one another. It could be service to our community, service to an organization, but we have to have that patriotic spirit, When I drive through America, every door has an American flag. And for a while, I couldn't figure it out because in Canada, you hardly see that. But what I did learn from that lesson is they are so patriotic. They will come together and they will bind together for the common good. So I think what is missing amongst ourselves is that patrioticness and that form of service. If we sort of bind together and we sort of realize that we are each other's keeper. Each for all, is that what our motto is?
All for each and each for all.
All for each and each for all. That is what we have to get back to.
I honestly don't believe we are not patriotic. I believe, and this is from my experience, we want to get it done, we want to do it, but we get frustrated really fast.
Yep.
We get frustrated because we are like, I'm trying, I am doing my part, and I'm looking over here and I don't see you put in the effort. So we are like, I don't see you put in the effort and I'm putting the effort. So we get frustrated. But I don't think it's not that we are not patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
well, well, it's my opinion because I have lived on this earth a long time and I have seen it. So it is, I respect your opinion, but I will stand by that because, like I said, I have been here. I may look young, but I've been here a long time and we lack that sort of zeal.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Esther, you wanted to make any contribution? You know, we can see you, so I keep forgetting you're on with us. Did you want to say anything? And then Alden and Iman, I'm coming over to you. Esther, one, two, three. Okay, we'll come back to Esther. Alden and Iman. So this is what I want you guys to talk about: the prospects, your career prospects, and do you plan on having some sort of virtual aspect to the careers that you will eventually pursue? What are the prospects for you and your career opportunities as you guys get ready to end your studies?
Well, as it was said, IT is a place where it can be applied almost everywhere. If not, it can be applied everywhere. And again, as it was said, due to IT and the virtual space, as Dominicans, we are definitely always home. So, one thing for sure I have been doing even since before my days at UEKville is I have been for the past years, for the past summers, I've been engaged in a tech camp. So this is under Create Caribbean by Dr. Shyla Esprit. So I've been teaching young kids how to code and stuff. It's all about research and technology, and the camp's name is Create and Code. And I've been teaching, as I said, these young kids to um, about the different types of technologies, whether it be videography, photography, Java programming, C++, and it gets very interesting. And you would be surprised what children at their very young age achieve. And it used to amaze me to the point where every year that passes by, I had to up the program and I had to up it, and they would just keep hitting that level. And I'm like, wow, like what more can I really do, which is not pushing the boundary of giving them too much before their time. So if it's one thing I know for sure, in the virtual space, anything in that aspect in terms of educating the rest of the youth are possible, because it's not just Dominican students we actually had at that program, especially during the time when the pandemic hit. We had some students who would be from Canada or the US. So it's very interesting. And as I said, my field of work, it can be applied almost anywhere. So definitely have to narrow it down at one point, especially towards the end of my degree.
Right. Good for you. Good for you, Imana.
Well, in terms of employment, no, well, with my field, international relations with management, I have tasted a bit of the virtual working. I was an intern with the UNDP Dominica, and I worked at in that capacity mainly virtual. So it's possible. It is possible. I aim to work with international organizations, but my focus would mainly be on Caribbean, on regional integration. That is what I want my focus to be on. As within the space of international relations, it deals with a lot of policy, a lot of policy making, and it dabs a little into world and world politics. Not dabs a little. It basically is world politics. you know so I can work in capacity in any area really, from a political strategist to policy analyst, and there are so many areas that you can go into, because with international relations, a lot of it right now, when it looks at global citizens, is deals with social media. It has to do a lot with basically commenting on governments and government relationships, government policies. and that can be done in any capacity, from a journalism point of view, writing blogs, creating a blog where you educate people, even through social media and in your engagement of social media that can happen. So there are different areas that I can tap in and I hope to tap in. I'm trying my best not to look at it in the traditional sense, because that's what a lot of people mistake. We look at things too traditionally. You leave university and your aim is to, just apply for jobs, and you wait for somebody to take you in. No, it's not that. It's looking at opportunities for yourself and growing your brand. And that is what I aim to do. I aim to grow my brand in such a way that I can market myself into any position and into any organization. And that is my aim for employment.
Good for you. Esther, did you want to make a contribution?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have unmuted. Yeah, to add to what the former speakers have stated, I would suggest that moving forward, we who are on this panel, we form an umbrella group so we can disseminate whatever information we have to our various members. Example, one person stated that at an educational forum, which was very interesting, only 6 persons attended. Well, if we are 8 of us, if from each, there are 6, that would 6 times 8, that would be at least 48 people. That I think would be a very practical thing to pull our resources together, get information to our people. That's
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, Esther. I'm certainly open to the idea, and I think it is something we absolutely need to consider. But as we get ready to wind down the program, I'm always amazed at how 2 hours goes by so very quickly when we have interesting and engaging conversations. But where do we go from here? What is still standing in the way of us being able to do the best work in this organization? So we talked about trust. We talked about the young people not being as engaged as we would like to. And we also kind of alluded to the fact, and I think Sheryl did a good job with that, that it seems like it boils down to one set of people doing the work, right? So it seems like, we have an organization, we have 60 people, and then when you call a meeting, it's the same 20, the same 15 people who are showing up for the meeting. So where do we go from here? What is getting in the way of us even growing stronger as Dominican associations in the diaspora? Sheryl, you want to take that one?
Yes, I would like to add to something Doreen said, that I am asked all the time, why are you still in this association?
Wow.
Because as I've stated before, I'm one of the founding members. And what I have learned is when you join a group such as this, is because you are dedicated to your country. Because I'm telling you, there are times I have been like, you know what, I'm done. Then you get a call from the infirmary. You get a call from a school in Cassie Bruce or Wesley, and you want to do it. You want to help. But I will tell you what I like about tonight's program. I hope that Dominicans in Houston see the other associations, listen to you guys, hear the positivity, and just get enthusiastic about being a part of this, because we are all trying, we all basically have the same goal, which is doing what we can for our people. And so we don't feel so much like the Lone Ranger out here. I've heard of the Tampa Association. We did collab with them during COVID, but I'm happy to see others, and especially the young people, because sometimes it really does take a village and maybe people of different ages to convince people or engage people, make them see it differently. And I will say one of our problems as Dominicans is most of us listen to the negativity and we usually take it and run with it. Someone who is no longer a member of the group, you're not a member of the group anymore. They go with the negativity. Oh, I'm not a part of that. I doesn't go to kosher knee. And then when a disaster happened, like Doreen said, it knows no boundaries. It doesn't pick neighborhoods. It doesn't pick color. A hurricane hit Dominica, it hits Dominica. So when we are asking for assistance, we expect all Dominicans to say sure, because You have relatives there. You're from there. So we need to do a better job at being our brother's keeper, as someone stated earlier, and
Mhm.
just being supportive of these groups because they may not think we are helping, but we are helping.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to also add, with respect, just to go back a little bit to the brain drain issue.
Mhm.
When I think of the number of qualified Dominicans that reside in the US, I see opportunities for um, educational, I see educational opportunities, lectures. Lectures can be held in Dominica at collegiate levels for students who are in Dominica. Um, Postgraduate programs can be held for students in Dominica, organized and in affiliation with some of the universities in the US, so that people do not have to actually come up to the US to do those programs. How about those of us here, the professors, the doctors, and those with the skills and the knowledge? Um, if there is a shortage of professors at the college, at the Dominica State College, are we available to do some classes? Are we familiar with the curriculum? So there are opportunities, and these are things that we can begin to explore. Look at the curriculum that is offered and how we can support the state college from wherever we are in the US or in
Absolutely.
the diaspora, for example. But I do believe that even post college, there are many students who do not have the opportunity or the financing to pursue their bachelor's degree. There are other programs that can be done in collaboration with universities in the US to provide some level of post college, post tertiary education to the students.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you mentioned that, Doreen, because now we're in contact and he is firm with his commitment to what we're doing. Dr. Randy Glean at the Western Illinois University. And as a matter of fact, as we talk right now, he is working on my next program. So for the next program, we're going to bring the graduating class of 2022 and talk about economic opportunities. What are your plans for the future? What are your career goals? How are you planning in whatever you do to give back to where you come from? So I think what you're saying is spot on, that there's no reason, for example, we cannot have guest lecturers up here in the US, Canada, the UK, doing lectures in Dominica. There's no reason why businesses, and it doesn't matter what type of business. So whether you're a hairdresser, you're a mechanic, you're a restaurant owner, why can't we not share the skills that we've learned in the US via some conferences and teach those who are in Dominica about making your business more profitable? Customer service. Don't get me started on customer service. The importance of customer service, right? And what is working well for your business in the US. And here is what you might want to try. There is absolutely no reason why we haven't gone that path. So anyone else wants to share? Because what I would like us to do in our final few minutes is just provide an opportunity to recruit some members. So any recruitment efforts you want to present at this time. Iman, I see you turned your mute off, so go ahead.
Yes, please. So it would be very remiss of me not to mention listening to this conversation and alluding back to the brain drain situation, to not mention the need for a proper structured diaspora policy
Mm-hmm.
in Dominica. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is on the onus of the different associations in the US and in the UK and in Canada to come together and put pressure on the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diasporan Relations to create a diasporan policy so that Dominicans will be able to contribute back to the country. Because brain drain is a real issue. It's one of our main issues that we are having here in Dominica, that all our skilled persons are going away and then the country is being left dry. And even a personal situation where I came back to Dominica and I was like, but wait a minute, all my friends I graduated with, they're not here. They're not here. All our brightest minds are going abroad and they are not turning back. And then it goes back to the root of what is national pride and community, and where are we at in Dominica with these subjects. You know, there is no national pride without community. And that has somewhat, and I'll be very frank in that statement, is that has been lost in Dominica. The aspect of community has been lost in Dominica. And if it is lost in Dominica, there is no way that it can transcend into our outside diasporan groups. So that is something that we need to look at, and we need to come to in as communities, not only to for just support, but it's on the onus too of the members as the brightest minds from Dominica that went out to speak on national issues, apart from just by partisan politics, but national issues, women's rights, climate change justice. You know, Dominica is going into becoming a resilient country. What are our views on that? How is the policy looking for Dominicans, not only in Dominica, but for Dominicans abroad? Because you guys, when it comes to the giving back efforts and the raising funds efforts, you are at the center of it all. It was from the Dominicans abroad and the Dominicans Association where Dominicans got support after Hurricane Maria, and even in some instances for the COVID-19 situation, you know, just giving that type of support back into our country. So I just wanted to state that. Of course, I couldn't leave that out. And of course, you know, I um will ask for, you know, support and partnership to the DOMSAC, Dominican Students Association. As I said, the association from England helped us so well. And I would love that other associations in the US, you know, can also so partner with us to see where we are at and in some way or some form help us. And I will just end there.
Yeah, and that is, thank you so much, Imana. And that is what we're looking for: partnership, collaboration. How do we move together as one Dominica, no matter where we are? So I'm going to go ahead and go over to Facebook to take some comments before we wind down the conversation. But I would like each one of each representative from each association to provide us with one form, one way that we can get in touch with you. Because I think sometimes when we provide too much information, it gets lost in the forest. So just the most important way that we can get in touch with you, the most effective way that our audience can get in touch with you if they're interested in being a part of your association. So kind of think about that for a minute. Let's take some Facebook comments before we wind down for the evening. And again, I want to thank you all so much for being a part of this conversation. So we have Virginia Santilia. Welcome, Sheryl from DHA. Let's see who else we have. Joseph Warrington Gage. Great job, Alden. You're doing great. Thank you so much for that. Let's see who else we have. Joseph Warrington Gage again. Proud of you, Alden. Teacher Merle, wonderful program. Participants are all doing great. Proud of my village girl, Elisha. Doreen, you have been outstanding for the work that you do with DATB. Hats off to all of you. Simone, you are a star. Ooh, oh, wow. Thank you. Joseph Warrington is watching from, let's see, from Atkinson, I think he said. Okay, let me make sure because I always like to engage our Facebook audience. Yes, he's watching from Atkinson. Felicia George, visit the Dominica Houston Association.org page and learn more about what we do. And Sheryl is clapping. She's happy you mentioned that. You can also make a donation and join the association. Let's take some comments from folks we haven't heard from tonight. Sandra Norris, always great to see you. Good evening. I'm late. That's okay, Sandra. Just click the replay and you'll be able to see the whole program again. Hazel and Anthony, great program. Simone, the participants are all doing a wonderful job. I pray that God will bless you for all the wonderful work, all you do on point. So I say congratulations to you all. Thank you. Dominica Houston Association is here with us. the DHA have not given up on supporting our local communities. We will continue to strive to reach each person, whether it is Dominica or not. Evelina Blah, great to see you. Good evening, Simone, and your panel. Interesting program. Folks we haven't seen. Bernard Ito, lovely to see you. We should reframe the situation from brain drain to brain train. Bernard, how about brain gain? And you would be a perfect participant, now that I think about it, to be on the program. So please reach out to me via Messenger on Facebook, or you can also reach me at pushpast10@gmail.com, pushpast10@gmail.com. And anyone who would be interested in having this conversation of how do we reverse the brain drain and turn it into the brain gain for Dominica, I would be happy to hear from you. We have built, Bernard Ito again, we have built the Dominica economy around 4.0 technology, jobs, cloud computing, machine learning, cybersecurity, etc. This can all be done for U.S. companies from DA. Bernard, you are singing my song. You are speaking my language. Thank you for that. Alvin Thomas, Simone, you can ask the panelists whether anyone of their association has thought about putting together a database of the various Dominica organizations in the US, Canada, possibly the UK, and maybe a database of Dominicans in various fields and expertise. Alvin, that is exactly what I am interested in, and I'm hoping someone will be able to answer that for us, either in the audience or on the panel. Virginia Centilier, yes, this is a very interesting and engaging program. Someone we haven't seen yet. Oh, I saw Owen Prosper before. Nice to see you, Owen. Peter Dover, great point, Doreen. Alvin, great intervention. Bernard, brain drain is not really an issue. All you need is brain connection to translate our overseas human capital into Ireland wealth. Bernard Ito, we need to have a conversation. Alvin, that's where the creation of the database of association comes in. Clem James, press statement for immediate release, formation of the... Okay, Clem, this is not the forum, sorry. This is not the forum for your message. Shari Bryant, Janice is so business-minded. Great job, Janice. So I want to go back to that question that Alvin Thomas asked. Do we... Oh, we have a phone call. Thank you, Lambi.
Caller, yes.
Good evening.
Yeah, caller, please go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, it sounds like a breath of fresh air to hear you all guys. Because many times I say all Jamaicans are always pulling together, they are always advanced. And I like what you're doing, Miss Simone, because that's your brainchild, and the program is very interesting. Hi, Doreen, and then I would like to really participate because on my own I do initiate stuff and I do help a certain community in Dominica all by myself. That would be very great if I could get access to you all. And Miss Simone, I would like to get in touch with you because I'm trying to send in my contribution, but to me the website I could not identify it good. So I'm in the Atlanta area. My name is Elisha. Thank you.
Yes, so caller, thank you so much. And please email me. It is pushpast10, so pushpast10@gmail.com is the best way to reach me. Let's see, Didi Esther, great to see you. Good evening, Dr. Simone and your panelists. We need to move that stumbling block first. So Didi, we have lots of obstacles, but we can get the work done. And speaking of obstacles, we can expect to have obstacles. And one of the greatest ones I came across recently is, Gabriel Christian. He is such a formidable figure. He's such a person who wants to see Dominica move forward. And he gave me a list of 85 people, I won't say from what association it was from. And I reached out to them. And I said, we're trying to do a program, mentorship, inspiring and hope for youth of Dominica. And can you believe only 3 people said yes out of 85? So I think the point is we're always going to have obstacles. But look at the panel today. Look at the Gabriel Christians. Look at the Simeon Josephs of the world. I also have this other young lady, Shanika Hamilton, who is ready and able. So I think we have to stop looking at what is not, and we always have to focus on what is possible. So we're quickly running out of time, but does anybody know of a database that Alvin was talking about with the list of all the associations? Because I think that would be a great place to start.
We do have a database of the Dominican associations in the Dominican associations in the US. We've collaborated with a number of them, as we've said already. So we can make that available. We also have a database of Dominicans. We need to update it, but we have a database of Dominicans and their professions in the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, nice. That would be very helpful. Thank you for that. So final thoughts before we end the program. Anyone wants to give us some final thoughts before we wind down?
Well, I just want to say I am so pleased to be on this program, and I want to thank you. I want to thank the listeners, and I want to thank these amazing panelists. And I just want to say thanks. And I would be happy to work with this with any of you or all of you, as a matter of fact. We can feed off each other, and that type of thing. Although I myself, we are looking for donations, contributions, I can donate and contribute as well. So,
yes, and give us that one best way to get in touch with you.
Okay, and that is the Swinging Janice at gmail.com. That's very easy. Or you can visit our page, our Facebook page, just Swinging Janice Scholarship Foundation. It's the easiest way because you can join, you can comment, and you can do all sorts of things on there.
Alden, the fastest way to get in touch with your association?
Well, that would be to send an email to domsac@mykville.ue.edu. That would be the quickest way.
All right, thank you. Elisha? You're muted.
I am a treasurer at DominicaHoustonAssociation.org.
Okay, so treasurer at
DominicaHoustonAssociation.org.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Doreen?
We're at datbdom@gmail.com. And you can also reach us at Dominica Association of Tampa Bay Facebook page. And let me also say, Alden, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you since you were just a little kid. And I did not recognize you early on, but it is such an honor to see you on the program. And blessings to you. I wish you all success. All of you who are at the university studying. Sheryl, I haven't seen you in a very long time. It's good to see. And Janice as well. It's just good to see all of you. And thank you, Simone, for putting this panel together. It was amazing. I do believe that we can do great things. We need to stay connected. We need to continue networking to see what we can do for the benefit of our people at home and in the U.S.
And that is exactly the plan. Teacher Merle, I went ahead and posted my email address for anyone who wants it again. It's pushpast10@gmail.com. Dominica Houston posted a message. This is Ava Lugay. The DHA started the collection of Dominican organizations globally, but will help everyone. The information will be shared with the Dominican Tourism Bureau and can be shared with Dominicans traveling to respective countries. We have also looked into partnering with the Dominican government to allow traveling medical professions to partner with medical communities in Dominica to give back. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. So as we begin our second year of Roots Connections on Q, my vision is that we can engage our human resources no matter where we are in Dominica and overseas, so we can reverse the decades of brain drain that we have experienced, and we can create a path, we can create a plan for turning it into a brain gain. And Bernard Ito, I'm looking to hear from you, as well as everyone else who has said that they were interested. So I think of it as an equation. I'm not very mathematically inclined, but I think of this as an equation. So it is the people plus the processes we can engage in, plus the human resources and every other resource, including technology And that, in my mind, would equal the advancement of Dominica, especially as it relates to creating financial opportunities. So it is all about engaging the technology, using the human resources, and what can we do? Mentorship programs, collaborations, seminars, webinars, you name it. The possibilities are endless. So again, we want to thank our audience who joined us via Facebook Live. We want to thank our audience who joined us on the radio. Of course, a special thank you to the panel, and thank you to Mr. G, Lambie, Sherwin, Norris for your support for this program. And as we continue to tap into the experts of our Dominicans at home and abroad, you can expect a whole lot more of programming. Don't forget to visit q95da.com for any past episodes, and on Facebook and YouTube, we are Q95 FM Radio. And don't forget, our next episode will be on May 25th. And we're going to engage. Maybe we'll have Alden and Imana join us on that program or another one. We're going to engage with our youth. We're going to engage with our graduating class. And we're going to talk about the prospects for their future and where they would like to go. What is the vision for their lives as Caribbean young people? So again, I am Simone Mathieu. You've been listening to Roots Connections on Q. And for more information about the work that I do with trying to build this international village that we will call Dominica 2.0. Bernard, did I get that right? You can visit my website at pushpast10.com. So with that, I bid you good evening. And Bernard says, I plan to visit as many DA associations around the world as possible. Let's keep the dialogue going. So thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Peter, Virginia, and everyone else who joined the conversation. So again, you have yourself a wonderful evening, and thank you to the panel. We'll be in touch. Take care.
Good night.
Good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. We're going to keep in touch, okay?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
All right. Take care.
Okay.
Joe Rastafari. Home, oh children, home. Wanna go home. Oh, yes, children, home. Got to go. Yeah, we've been trodden from tendencies right on through revelation. We've been a subject to master's feet. So bliss, so we wanna go. Yeah, we are a people enslaved and sold, scattered through the earth. Jacob is calling his children 12 tribes, so we want go. Oh, children, home. Oh, to Zion, oh, wanna go, take me there, home, oh, to Zion, oh, wanna go, yeah, we've been trodden from Genesis, right on through Revelation. We've been a subject to master's feet, so blick, so we wanna go. Oh, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, and Zebulun, Isaac, God, and Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, and Benjamin. 12 tribes, so we want go. Oh, children, home. Oh, to Zion, oh, I wanna go. wanna go, yeah. Oh, children home, oh, oh, children home, wanna go, said I'm longing to, oh, to Zion, oh, wanna go, so here I say, yeah, Africa for Africans, a home and abroad, so I must go home, yeah, what that lay, what that lay. What that lay, what that lay. Tell me how you feeling, what that lay. Tell me how you feeling, what that lay. Are you feeling irie, what that lay? Are you feeling hopeful, what that lay? Are you feeling irie, what that lay? Are you feeling what that lay?
Democratic Republic of Congo. These sounds are from footage recorded at a sanctuary for chimpanzees and monkeys in Luiro, in the province of South Kivu in eastern DR Congo. What you can hear are orphaned baby chimpanzees with their carer, Zawadi Balanza Emmeline, or Mama Zawadi, as she's known to her friends.
I feel very close to those baby chimpanzees because, like me, they're a victim of the war. I am a victim of the war, and I want to give them as much love as I can, and I want to keep them close to me. I don't want them to be hurt or killed just because we're both victims.
The war Mama Zawadi is talking about is the conflict that's made Eastern DR Congo one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's home to hundreds of different armed groups who have wreaked havoc in the region for almost 30 years. The UN estimates that millions of people have been forced to flee their homes. Sexual violence is also used against women so frequently that in some areas of the country, 2/3 of women are said to have experienced rape or sexual assault, something Mama Zawadi can attest to. And so you're aware, you're going to be hearing about her traumatic experiences of sexual violence. But first I asked Mama Zawadi about the animals she cares for. We spoke through an interpreter.
So there are now 9 baby chimpanzees here in the sanctuary. Because of the quarantine, they've actually stayed with us longer. They would normally be put in another group, but we've sort of kept them a bit longer. So I have 9 baby chimpanzees. One is Biambe, he's a male. He had been injured, so he had some scars due to gunshots. The doctors are currently treating him, and we're hoping that he'll eventually recover entirely. At first, he was very cautious, very nervous, but we've already noticed quite a lot of changes, and he's now very attentive. He listens almost like he's a real little human being. For instance, when we give him a bottle of milk, then he kind of asks for more by handing back the empty bottle to us. So you can tell he's quite smart. The other one is Makasi. And you can tell he's been through a lot of stress. His mother was killed. And so when he arrived, you could tell that he didn't trust humans. But now I've been able to earn his trust, and I've become a bit like a mother to him.
Tell me about some of the things that have been happening to these chimpanzees before they come to the sanctuary. I mean, why, for example, has one of the baby chimpanzees been shot, and why was the other chimpanzee's mother killed?
Ici au Congo, je sais que c'est à cause de la guerre toujours. Here in Congo, because of the war, there is so much insecurity, and we have park rangers, but because it's still many times unsafe to go in certain areas of the forest, they don't go. And because of all the rebels and the bandits, it's very difficult to protect chimpanzees.
So you grew up in South Kivu, which when you were growing up, it was experiencing the aftershocks of the Rwandan genocide. And one of the things that was happening is that Hutu militias, many of whom had been perpetrators of the genocide in Rwanda, had come into the DRC. What stories would you hear when you were young about what they were doing in communities?
So as a child at school, we were told about the war, but sort of the war that took place in the 60s. But from the age of 14 onwards, then I really understood what the war meant, how people were killed, how women could be raped, because actually I was one of these women and I was taken to the forest where those things happened.
So let's talk about that and what happened to you. What do you remember about the day that you were taken?
C'était l'année 2008. C'était mercredi. It was a Wednesday, July 2008. I had just left school with a group of friends, and I had a friend with me, a friend from that school, from the village. And on our way, we came across an armed group of FDLR